What's good, Chaotic Nation? It's your boy Chaos here. Welcome back to Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. We're going to finish out this Goodman case. We just got I almost said DL6. SL9 files. And I haven't read them because it won't give me the freaking chance. Stop. I don't care. I don't care what you're saying. I'm reading these dang files and you're not going to stop me. Alright, close. Perpetrator Joe Dark. Serial murder sentence death. Edward Jones, Jason Knight, Edith Kirby, Rachel Moss, Jebba Bates, Neil Marshall. Head prosecutor Miles Edgeworth, witness Lana Skye, Emma Skye. Executive investigators Damon Gant, and Lana Skye. Head investigator Bruce Goodman, investigators Jake Marshall, Angel Star. But Neil Marshall being the last one. Jake Marshall. It could be his dad. I'm assuming it's his dad. Alright, I read him. Emma didn't come back. Allow me to call the next witness to the stand. The officer in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day of the crime. He's drinking whiskey on the stand. Witness, please state your name and occupation. Me, partner, I'm just a man the same as you, wandering his trials of civilization. Occasionally helping the elderly cross intersections when needed. Yes, we get it. Oh, I know you're the patrolman. As for my name, if you listen hard enough, you can hear the howling wind calling it out. To be exact, it's Jake Marshall, Your Honor. Now, Mr. Marshall, let me ask you something. You were in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day the crime took place. Is this correct? According to the papers, and partner. What do you mean? Desperado souls, the balance of the desert sand. No paper can sum it up. Maybe it's best we get on this quickly. Please share with the testimony of the day of the crime in plain old English. He's not going to be plain old English. It's Jake Marshall. He doesn't speak in plain old English. My job is keep a wary eye on that bone orchard. So I was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day, but it ain't my style. Besides, the room's protected 2 security system anyway. If I remember right, I was at the street side saloon all the time I went down. I'm just an innocent traveling man. If you're out of ammo, it's time to hit the trail. Can't say I particularly care for your attitude. Can't say I care for your beer, but you don't see me complaining. Wait a minute. What do you mean by 2 security systems? I mean security cameras and ID card reader. I reckon every cowpoke like you knows about those. Yes, well, what about the fingerprint activated locks and evidence lockers? Fingerprint activated locks? What kind of newfangled doohickeys are those? Seems like it with machines or with following orders. Everyone's got their weaknesses, don't they, Mr. Prosecutor? So it seems like trouble. Okay, Mr. Wright, he's all yours. Oh, that's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. How do I get Mr. I don't want to talk to you to talk to me? How exactly did you keep an eye on the evidence room? I always make sure nothing moved in the security camera monitor. That's the room so still, even time dies in there. It's just caretaker who interred the recordings. You interred them. Videos of nothing aren't that useful. When the time would come, I'd erase the tape. Nothing usual was recorded. Tapes are to be erased every 6 hours. Each time I erased the tape, it felt like I was erasing part of my life. So in actuality, you don't have to physically enter the evidence room. I was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day, but that ain't my style. But you made your rounds on the day of the crime, right? Ain't you heard a word I said, partner? I told you that I ain't my style. I'm afraid I don't understand. No desperado I know lets their rules get in his way. No desperados I know join the police force. It's Officer Marshall on the day of the crime. Just between you and me, I didn't set foot in the evidence room that day. There's a rubber glove stuck in the victim's locker. Do you know anything about that? Sorry, partner, can't say I do. I haven't been in that crypt in weeks. That's good for being fired. Yeah, that's a really good question. Alright. You used to be a detective, so you've used evidence in the room in the past, correct? Of course, back in the day, my locker was a gold mine of evidence. And yet you didn't know about the fingerprint locking mechanism. Sorry, partner, I ain't good with machines. I couldn't even tell you how a bike works. That's quite incredible. Sensors on the locker handles cannot be seen. It's one of them that some detectives are unaware of their presence. Now you mentioned Detective Gumshoe said something like that too. At any rate, it doesn't seem that this is relevant to the crime. Can you tell us what you were doing when the crime took place? I just remember I was side street saloon. Time went down. I was drinking, like always. What are you doing in a place like that? I was eating spaghetti. Not even Angel Steak unless you can beat that part of this. Von Sepia Pius. Von Sepia Pius. It's hard to say with a country accent. Von Sepia Pius. You been your police duty to eat some noodles. Not all desperados eat tacos, partner. That's not what I meant. I hope at least taught you a lesson. It's strange. This is usually what Edgeworth says. Did you not want to raise this year? I'm an innocent traveling man. You're not an innocent traveling man. Out of ammo, officer, Marshal. That's right, partner, or as you like to call it, evidence. If you plan to pin me on this crime, then you better draw. Otherwise, you're just wasting my time. See a horse, I'll wait and carry him back to the west, sunset. One thing seems clear. Despite being responsible for the guarding evidence room, the witness doesn't appear to have seen anything. Texas don't take orders from anyone. Everyone knows that. Okay, I have a trump card up my sleeve, so I best keep my cool. Before I use it, though, I'd better up the ante. Alright, what do I have to... I have is... Who is Sevens? They said it was supposed to 3 times my style. Besides, the room's protected by 2 security systems. Let me present the ID card here thing here. And see what if that gets me anything. No, it doesn't. I just wanted to see if he said anything. So he... Dang it, this is... 2 security systems. Remember right, I was at the street side saloon when the timer went down. I don't have any evidence for that. What's the contradiction? I'm an innocent traveling man. You're not an innocent traveling man. And I have evidence to prove you. We're in there. No, this freaking screwdriver is a screwdriver. I want to know what his ID number is. It doesn't... What am I supposed to do? Like, we have his name. No, this is... Your Honor, what do you think about the witness's statement? No. Alright, I'll be honest. Let me see what he says. Alright. I have a trump card up my sleeve, so I best keep it cool. Before I use it, though, I better up the ante. So I have to do something. I have to do something here before I pull out the card. We have to press him again, I think, to figure out what we're doing. Let's press. And how exactly keep an eye on the room. Made sure nothing moved. Entered the recordings. You entered them. We have to figure out how to get there. Videos are nothing if useful. When the time would come, I'd erase the tape. I mean, that's true. So we don't want to fire the... So he'd erase the tape. But so if he's erasing the tape, wouldn't he erase the system? Yeah. So... Okay. I have to... Maybe I have to... I have to hit him with the ammo, I think. I don't have... Like, I don't have any other ammo right now. I have to pin it. Alright. I have a trump card up my sleeve, so I best keep my cool. Better up the ante. But I have to... I don't have anything else to pin him with. I think I gotta use it. That's the only thing I know to do. Yeah, it's the right play. Officer Marshall, doesn't it strike you as odd that you being called in to testify like this? After all, you weren't in the security room at the time of the crime. And you dragged me down here. Explain yourself, partner. It's quite simple. You left a very large trail behind at the scene. We've exacted a handprint. Listen real good, partner. Like I said, I'm the caretaker of that crypt. I pay my respects, so that is, make my rounds once a month. It's only natural my fingerprints would be in there. No. I only wish it were, officer. But you see, your fingerprints were covered in blood. Witness, what is the meaning of this? Your blood-stained fingerprints were at the crime scene. The blood was wiped away, however. A luminol test clearly revealed this. Officer Marshall, it seems to me there ain't a person in this room who would head on his shoulders. So you have no explanation then, Officer Marshall? About the blood-stained fingerprints? Very well, you may begin your testimony about your fingerprints found at the crime scene. Alright, we got this done, so now we gotta keep moving. At least we got him there. Like I said, it's only natural for my fingers to be left in the evidence room. One of them just happened to be placed at the same place as the bloodstained handprint. Murderer touched the locker where my fingerprint was by the chance. Bloodstain and the fingerprint are completely unrelated. Or didn't you know that murderer was wearing gloves? See, I had nothing to do with it. Although there's room for doubts. Alright, we gotta press him. He's hiding something. Yeah, he's very much hiding something. And he's wearing a... See, he's wearing a red scarf. I feel like it's him because he's wearing a red scarf too. That's because... I just pay your respects once a month? Yeah, that's right, and then one more thing. That locker happens to be mine. What do you mean? I mean what I said. That locker's I used when I was a detective. It's still a locker I use. And all that's in there is mine, though, a heap of broken dreams. It'd be strange if my prints weren't all over that locker. Apparently, his fingerprint data was never removed from that locker's paneling. He must have been using the fingerprint lock all this time without ever knowing it. Okay. Well, just happened to be at the same place that bloodstained handprint. So then, what about the bloody handprint? It wasn't mine, but it's no mystery. To explain. My locker's covered with my fingerprints. It just so happened... The murder touched... Okay, no one cares about your stupid explanation. The chances of that happening are 1 in a million. On the contrary, one could argue it's just the opposite. The chances of that is not happening are 1,000,000 to 1. Get one thing straight, partner. You ain't gonna get no reward from me with a mere fingerprint. You wanna know why? Because the blood stain and the fingerprint are completely unrelated. No, they're not. Unrelated? They're as different as a night and day. Kind of like cereal and cereal. One's got to do with bread, while the other got to do with the type of murder. He's right, those seemingly alike, they're totally different. Let's see what homonyms have to do with this. When did you know the murderer was wearing gloves? How do you know the murderer was wearing gloves? Yeah. I might be a loner, but I still do my job. Keep up on the reports. There's a blood stain at the scene that was left by the murderer. That's right. I was on Detective Gumshoe's locker. However, no fingerprints were detected on that handprint. Oh yeah, I think we tried that too. So that would mean the murderer was wearing gloves. Happened to place their hand on top of Officer Marshall's fingerprints. It's the only logical conclusion. Are you starting to get the picture, partner? The picture? This seal of blood in the desert is just food for buzzards. There's only one reality, and that is this. Security keep. As long as my tail isn't there, you can't say otherwise. This isn't getting us anywhere, Mr. Wright. Please consider carefully where you're going with this cross-examination. Yes, Your Honor. Now to continue your testimony, Mr. Officer Marshall. Too bad it wasn't me in that video, right, partner? What do you mean by that? You want to tie me to this crime, isn't that right, partner? If so, the video can only have direct evidence you have. But that video is next to useless. It's full of blind spots. Blind spots? Places you can't see. The camera panning back and forth. The floor isn't shown. If someone was familiar with the camera's positions, they could leave the room without being caught on tape. I don't have time for the speculations, Mr. Wright. Well, Mr. Wright, if you could show us the evidence in this case that indicates the Officer Marshall was present, please do so now. Very well. Allow me to point out a mistake, Officer Marshall. Tread carefully, Mr. Wright. You may be being up the one making the mistake. I have no idea what I'm supposed to pin him with. I mean, the glove that fell out. Let's have another look at the video. Oh, this freaking video. Alright. That's it right here. Right? There. How's that for your evidence? He's scared sometimes. No, certainly is not first. We should forgive him too, Officer Marshall. He's not the bad man, he's just disillusioned. Of course, I'm not one of the gunned down armed boys. Great, now Edgeworth's defending me. What? It's gotta be in this video, right? Alright. Where is he in this video? It's full of blind spot, places you can't see, the floor isn't showing, we already got all this. He has to be in this video somehow. But how do I pin it on him? I was gonna say... So something has to change, right? Alright, shut up and let me take a look at the video. Yeah. Okay. I think it's the piece of cloth, right? Because it was showing in... It's there in the original, but it's not there at the end. Right? Because it's not here. It's there... Because we made a note of it when we were investigating. Still not... There's not there. Is it in this video, though? Yes. Yes, it is. It is in this video. Bringing our attention back to the security camera. So I was right. It just wouldn't take it because it wasn't... Oh my gosh, I hate this game sometimes. It just doesn't give me the things I'm clicking on. It's a mistake I'm afraid you'll soon forget, Mr. Officer Marshall. Days are short in Texas, and so are our tempers. Could you sum up what you have to say in 8 words or less? Very well. You can clearly be seen in this video. You can clearly be seen in this video. It's 8 words. Exactly 8 words. Not bad, partner. The key lies in certain locker shown in the video. At the end. Yeah, you got a cloth. That locker with the white cloth sticking out of it. That was the witnesses, I believe. Now then, let's rewind the video a bit. Oh my gosh, speed up this freaking tape. Just and then play it. Hey, we don't need to go this slow. We're not even going like a second at a time. We're going half a second at a time. Oh, the white glove, it's gone. What's the meaning of this, Officer Marshall? When the crime took place, white cloth wasn't there. Then suddenly it appeared. There's only one explanation. Officer Marshall, you were in the evidence room at the time of the crime. What's more, you opened the locker when the camera was turned away. And he stashed his gloves inside of it. Order, what's the same only? Hold your horses. Sorry, partner. But you got the wrong man. So what if my locker was open? Let me know I'm the one who opened it. The murderer needed to hide something, so he opened the locker and stuck it in. Not my fault he happened to choose mine. Why is everyone staring at me like I'm a wanted man? Because you're an idiot. I really hate to rain on your parade, but you're the only person who can open that particular locker. Oh yeah, call your bluff. You say open that locker, prove it. It's gotta be your fingerprints, right? You talk the talk, we got a long ways to go before we can walk the walk, Mr. Wright. Oh my gosh. Would you just... Oh my gosh. I proved it. I'm gonna be wrong. A fingerprint sensor? Are you kidding me? This game, it wants specific. The problem is it wants specific things. Like if it let me just use my logic, I would be fine. But it's like, what do you mean by this? You're an idiot, and this is you doing this stuff. Talked about this earlier today. Lockers can only be opened by detectives they belong to. What kind of crazy talk is this? Well, Detective Gumshoe did mention something about this. Yeah. Not obvious. So, Sheriff, what do you have to say in 8 words or less? Is he chewing on jerky or a glove? I only got 1 word for you, partner. No! We did good. We done did the good thing. Order, order, order. Witness, explain yourself. If this is a joke, it's the worst one I've ever heard. I assure you, this is no joke, Officer Marshall. Now, please tell us what you were doing in the evidence room at the time of the crime. Ole! Is that what he's saying? Is he a bullfighter now? Oh, yeah, he did say Ole. That's alright, Officer Marshall. I believe we can figure out the rest from here. We can? We can have a look at these floor plans. There's no place for someone to hide in the evidence room. Yet Officer Meekins didn't see Officer Marshall. Oh, so then, where was the witness? It seems Mr. Wright has an answer. That's right. The only possible conclusion. Well, then let's hear it. Where was Officer Marshall the time of the crime? He was the V. Officer Marshall was standing right here. There, but that's where the victim, Detective Goodman, was. Correct. Unless the man wasn't Detective Goodman. I believe it's the victim in the video. The victim in the video is Officer Marshall. It was you dressed up like Detective Goodman. That's preposterous. Officer Meekins witnessed the detective at the scene of the crime. Once he saw the man's face, he'd know for sure. May I point out that Officer Meekins did not know Detective Goodman. He also testified about the man's reaction when confronted. I entered his room, I asked him to show his RD card, sir, and then he stabbed me. Something about the officer's story puzzled me. If the man had his ID card, why didn't he just show it? He would have needed to enter the evidence room, so he must be been carrying it. The answer is simple. He couldn't show it. As you can see, Detective Goodman's picture is on his ID card. Oh, I get it. If he showed that his cover would have been blown. Officer Meekins would have realized the man wasn't Detective Goodman. Do you have anything to say to this, Officer Marshall? You got quite an imagination, partner. We got a term for that. It's called circumstantial evidence. Circumstantial evidence. He's still denying it. You're gonna have to do better than that to break a detective. Unless you have hard evidence proving I dressed up as a victim. Can't say I particularly care for your cooperative disposition. Can't say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining. Well, Mr. Wright, do you have any evidence proving beyond a shadow of a doubt that Officer Marshall dressed up as a victim? Well, who am I kidding? I don't have anything like that. I can see the fear in your eyes, partner. Seems you're the one who couldn't take the desert heat. So obviously he's the one. What can I do? Looks like your lack of experience has finally been exposed. I'll pass on to you what someone who told me when I was starting out. When you've run into a wall with no place to go, return to the basics. The basics? For me, that would have been what Maya used to tell me. Phoenix, think outside the box. I shouldn't have to look for proof that Officer Marshall wasn't in disguise. But rather, I should look for evidence that came about because he was in disguise. Why do you think the locker was opened in the first place? What do you mean? There's no reason for Officer Marshall to open his locker at the time of the crime. Yet he did, despite the chance it might be discovered later as he'd been. Which means he didn't originally plan to open his locker. According to the defensive argument, Officer Jake Munster dressed up as a defendant, Detective Goodman, at the time of the crime. Then after the crime was committed, he opened his own locker for some unknown reason. Let me see the locker. The fact that the white cloth is sticking out of the locker seems to indicate that. He opened it in order to put the cloth inside. So, just what exactly is this piece of cloth? Perhaps the video is the key to all our answer questions. What? Very well. Let's take another look at the security tape. After committing the crime, the witness opened the locker to put away the white cloth. Please show us why. Ah! This sucks. And he stabs him. Yeah, it's gonna be. It has to be, right? Let me just check it one more time. But I'm pretty sure it's because he's not. Well, we have to think about like why he was there, right? It said go to the basics. So what happened that caused him to have to get rid of it? What Officer Meekins coming in was unexpected. Hold on. I'm thinking now. Officer Meekins was unexpected. Therefore, he wouldn't have expected to get blood on his coat. And he had to get rid of the coat. For some reason, you disguise yourself as Detective Goodman. You enter the evidence room, though I do not know to what end yet. However, something unexpected happens. Officer Meekins barged in on you. When asked to show your ID card, you pulled a knife on him. However, Officer Meekins panicked, and the white coat you were wearing was soiled with blood. Bloody white coat? You couldn't just walk out like that, so you had to hide the coat in your locker. Not bad, partner. That's a good choice. Yeah, that's what it was. Now then, Officer Marshall, are you ready to tell us the truth? Looks like I underestimated y'all. I hope you're happier now, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago, if you were only half as persistent as you are, half as persistent then as you are today, we all would have known it. We all wouldn't have to be here right now, would we? Jeez, I can't read. Officer Marshall, tell the court what you did, all of it. All right. Seems the time has come. Marshall's confession. I had to do it that day. I just couldn't stand by and let it die. I stole the detective's ID and dressed like him. I planned to take out the evidence. I was expecting Officer Meekins as I knocked him out. I managed to escape, and I knew which areas wouldn't be caught on camera. There wasn't any murderer in the evidence room at 515. So suppose victim was really you. There's one thing I still don't understand. Traces of a large quantity of blood were found on the floor of the evidence room. If no one was murdered, then how could that be? Officer Meekins managed to cut his own hand. My guess is he's the donor. It's way too much blood for that small a donation. Alright. Everyone involved here is related to that case in some way, but take a look at the files. Well, what the frick are the files gonna tell me? Perpetrator, Joe Dark, serial killer, da. Well, if I press the wrong button, I get killed. Because I'm at no health. When you say it, you mean... Do we even have to ask, partner? The SL9 incident. 2 years have passed since the case was closed. It's going to completely end with the transfer that day. Not if I had anything to do with it. That incident's not over. What did you hope to accomplish by sneaking into the evidence room? When the case is closed, only the case's lead detective can go through the evidence. I wanted to have a look at it myself one more time. No matter what it costs. I don't care what anyone says, partner. That case is mine. Officer Marshall wasn't in charge of asking why I care so much about it. The day was my last chance. That was It's his dad. It's because it's his dad. Why disguise yourself as Detective Goodman? If I didn't make it look like Goodman was carrying out the evidence transfer, I'd be arrested for stealing evidence, which wouldn't get me anywhere. So you did fool the security camera. The detective's ID card. I stole that morning of the incident. That's really why Goodman started filling out the lost item report. I returned his ID card. I left it on the floor of the prosecutor's office parking lot. That key card was found and was left there by Officer Marshall. So essentially, you managed to succeed despite your lack of foresight. What do you mean, partner? I mean, the fingerprint-activated lock, of course. No matter how well you disguise yourself, you can't change your fingerprints. Under normal circumstances, you wouldn't have been able to open that locker yourself. But he could because the rubber glove just happened to be stuck in the door. That means Detective Goodman must have opened the locker before Officer Marshall. You pulled a knife on Officer Meekins to try to drive him off. Let's just say I was a little surprised. You only planned on being there in the evidence room for no more than 5 minutes. I didn't think anyone would actually come in during that short time. Officer Meekins certainly is a one-of-a-million type of person, mistaking the detective for an intruder and demanding to be shown his ID. I have to think a little more about his raise this year. When did Edward get so much influence? Anyway, he threw himself at me and I ended up cutting him slightly. I'm sorry that it turned out that way. Me knocking him out and everything. By the way, what happened to your knife? Oh, you mean this one? I don't know what to say. So we knocked out Officer Meekins and managed to escape, but I knew which areas wouldn't be caught on the camera. So you did your research beforehand. Those who go in the desert unprepared don't live long, partner. I didn't think it would make a difference, though. Security tape is raced every 6 hours. If all had gone as planned, the footage would have been left. However, you bloody... Your coat and will struggle with Officer Meekins. Somebody was in the security room when I came out. The jig would have been up. I opened my locker and stashed it in there. What was Officer Meekins doing during that time? What else? He was sleeping like a baby. As you're saying, is on that day. There wasn't any murder in the evidence room 518. But the blood found in the scene certainly indicates a crime took place. What are you, blind? The victim shown on that tape is me, and I'm not dead yet, partner. So you stole the evidence from the locker. Actually, no, I didn't. Why not? When I opened the locker, the evidence was already gone. What's Mr. Edgeworth? Where is the evidence? It's still missing, Your Honor. Detective Goodman's locker was already empty. Someone else stole the evidence. Officer Marshall, may I ask you one thing? Fire away, partner. It's a free country. Just remember, I'm also free to decide whether or not to answer. Why did you do this? Stealing a detective's ID, injuring a police officer. This is no small offense. Moreover, you're an officer yourself. This will have serious consequences. You can't just be forgiven with a simple cut in salary. Oh my gosh. It's his dad. Like I said, this isn't your case. This one's mine. And I'll do anything it takes to get the answer I'm satisfied with. It's the usual method. Let's hear more. You can't just forget the SL9 incident. You know why? Because of your dad. That case was solved 2 years ago, wasn't it? That's the reason. Evidence was stored in the evidence room. Joe Dark was convicted for his crimes. One thing I can say for sure is he deserved his sentence. I remember that Joe Dark case. It was involved serial murders, didn't it? No, I don't intend to complain about how it turned out. One thing that still bothers me. Something went down at the trial. Someone no one will talk about. What happened? I don't know. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Yeah. The feeling he'd wind up here sooner or later. So it's the files. Alright. You know why I do know why it's your dad. Yeah. Officer Marshall, I think I understand. I think I know why you care so much about the SL9 incident. Sounds like you've been sipping too much cactus juice, partner. I have the SL9 incident file here. The name, Marshall, is mentioned here. A list of murder victims. Neil Marshall, you're related to this man? Neil Marshall. Yeah, I'm sure you heard the name. 2 years ago. He was the defense. He received the same lousy prosecution award you got. What, a prosecutor? You must be talking about the King of the Prosecutors Award. Now I remember the prosecutor Neil Marshall. He handled the SL9 case before I did. That's right, he was killed. And the case fell into your hands. What's his relation to you? He was my brother. He was investigating the murders with Damon Gant, then the deputy chief of police. The group of detectives I was part of worked under them. We were desperate to prosecute the killer. Joe Dark. My brother fought Dark and was killed. That was the first time Dark left behind any evidence. That's all we needed. He was arraigned and incarcerated. The case was finally closed, at least according to the public files. What do you mean? My brother couldn't have been killed by Joe Dark. I knew my brother better than anyone. No one could have beaten him in a fight. And that's it, your brother's reason for insane actions? There's more to my brother's death than what records say. No matter how much you try to hide it, you can't fool me. Well, at least one thing's for certain. Now we know why it happened in the police department on the day of the crime. It was the last day the SL9 case could be reopened. Not satisfied with his resolution, Officer Marshall planned to steal the evidence. Disguising himself as Detective Goodman as he entered the evidence room. Officer Meekins confronted him and so rendered him unconscious and fled. Yes, his mystery has finally been cleared up. No murder took place at the police department that day. The thing is that happened by the chance never ceased to amaze. Exactly at the same time as the murder of the prosecutor's office. The fake murder was going on at the police department. Chance? It's gotta be more than that. So if no one was murdered at the police department on the day of the crime, that means the murder in the prosecutor's office was the real one. Which in turn means only one person could have committed the crime. Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye. Shut up, Edgeworth. But wait, a verdict wasn't reached in yesterday's trial. Shut up, dude. Let me just win this one, okay? That's why they examined the incident at the police department today. But there's only one reason the defendant was not convicted yesterday. Then yet to remain a mystery of the simultaneous murder at the police department. Seems to me this boy's got drawn on you, partner. All of the mysteries at the police department have been resolved. No doubt about it. So a sole murder took place at the prosecutor's office. The only suspect is Lana Skye. And the testimony of Miss Angel Starr is completely uncontestable. If you have a response, make it single word or less. Arg. I rest my case. That's a tough cookie to crack. See, this trial is finally reached conclusion. There's no room for doubts. Well done, Mr. Wright. Thanks to you, I didn't need to waste my time. It's proven the alleged murder of the police department. There's no doubt why I proved today is true. The apparent murder on the security camera tape was really fake, but I didn't realize that would end up proving Lana guilty. Oh, the time of the verdict has arrived. This court finds the defendant. Objection. Yeah. She's back. Your Honor, wait. Emma? Defense has an objection, a scientific objection, right? What do you mean, right? Mr. Wright, are you this girl's guardian? Your Honor, in a sense. Please, Your Honor, I'm all asking for a minute of your time. Please hear me out. Mr. Edgeworth, please. I don't want to leave any loose ends. You want a minute? I'll give you 3. Here we go. I was kind of in shock. I mean, finding out the SO9 incident referred to Joe Dark killings. Now that she mentions it. Yeah. Yeah, no, we're both. That's when I figured it out. I mean, what Officer Marshall was trying to do that day, so I knew his fingerprints had nothing to do with the crime. But the only thing... That left only one thing, the other handprint. You mean the traces of blood found on Detective Gumshoe's locker? No fingerprints were on it, right? No, but I figured if examined scientifically, it should be found a clue. So, I ran over there and looked again. So, did you find something? No. Huh? Sorry, I guess I'm not much of a scientific investigator after all. Is that all? Please don't be mad. I'm just a high school student. And I'm just an attorney. But Mr. Wright, those traces of blood are the only clue we have. We can't find something wrong with them. Please, Mr. Wright. You're a professional. In any case, save Lana, it's you. If anyone can save Lana, it's you. Me? Oh boy. Time's up. Now then, Mr. Wright. With regard to the incident at the police department, does any reasonable doubt remain? Appears the defense is troubled with the other blood mark. Looking at the floor plans, the handprint was discovered around here. There's a problem with this. Mr. Wright, I'm sorry I can't be of more use. But still, if you can find anything wrong with the blood mark, Lana will be... Please answer my question, Mr. Wright. We don't have all day. Yes, Your Honor. If I've ever needed to concentrate, it's now. What could be wrong with that handprint on Detective Gumshoe's locker? Could it be something I'm missing? It's the figure. This handprint left at the crime scene clearly shows a contradiction. The only one thing that seems clear is you're grasping, Mr. Wright. You're staring pretty intensely at those floor plans. Tell us if there's a problem with them. Yes, this is strange. Take a good look at these floor plans. Something is missing. Missing? You mean something hasn't been drawn on there? Yes, something that, when drawn, will completely change the meaning of the blood mark. Let's pray the defense is simply trying to buy time. Remember, Mr. Wright. With all the evidence here, there's got to be something I can use. The question is, it's this. It's in front of it. What about that piece of plywood? The Blue Badger, the mascot of the police force, defender of truth, guardian of proof. Explain yourself, Mr. Wright. Please look at the floor plans of the crime scene. The Blue Badger is not here. So? So what happens when we put him in? This is where he was dancing at the time of the crime. Well? Well, what? Huh? That's right. So long as the Blue Badger is dancing here, it would have been impossible to place a handprint at this spot on the locker.
So that means, what exactly does that mean?
It means it can't be done.
What do you say? Blood traces will not be found on that locker.
Don't look at me. I didn't put it there. Mr. Wright, think it through scientifically. Emma, on that afternoon, Officer Meekins was the one who brought us to the Blue Badger's evidence room, right? After he put it down, he would have been impossible to leave a handprint on that locker. So that must mean his blood mark was left here before the Blue Badger was brought in.
I will not be allowed such far-fetched balderdash in my courtroom.
May seem far-fetched, Your Honor, but it's the only possible explanation. On February 21st, in the police department's evidence room, blood was spilled not once, but twice.
But how?
One time was captured on this tape taken by the security camera. Officer Meekins cut his hand, which was a trivial amount of blood fell. The problem is the other time. We can't see the handprint on that one. Someone bled prior to the struggle shown on this tape. It had to have been. That would have been Detective Goodman when he was really murdered.
This is ridiculous. I refuse to accept your absurd claim.
The murder portrayed in the security camera tape has been proven to be fake. However, it does not explain the blood mark found on the locker. So then, assuming that your murder's purports really happened, when did it take place? I demand you show evidence that proves it occurred. When did the first incident occur?
Summarize the defense claims that prior to the Officer Meekins being cut by Jake Marshall, who was proposing as Detective Goodman, another incident took place in that evidence room.
That's right. The blood mark on this locker proves this.
Very well. Then tell us, when did this first incident occur? As Mr. Edgeworth said, proof must be presented.
Proof that shows place.
Now then,
What shows that the first crime took place? I don't know. Maybe a thing that has a written record of when people come into this room at 4:20 when we have no mark, and he had died sometime within an hour or so before it. So Miles had to have seen it. Am I gonna pin this on Miles? Is that where we're heading? The only evidence I have is that. Oh, I pressed the button to present. Take that. The crime took place inside the evidence room, then the killer would have had to enter it. In order to do so, an ID card would have been required.
An ID card? Oh! And the ID card record.
Officer Meekins brought the Blue Badger panel in the evidence room at, let's see here, 4:50 p.m. The crime took place before that time. It would be 4:40.
Miles Edgeworth, what have you done?
I know what to figure, you nerve boy. Drop the act, witness. Doesn't take a lot of thought to figure it out. It couldn't have been me.
Nope, I ain't getting it. I'm afraid I don't understand either.
It's clear from the luminol test the blood was there. However, when the second crime took place, both Officer Meekins and Officer Marshall failed to notice the blood. That means the blood was from the first crime scene was wiped away by the real murderer. I'd have just 10 minutes to murder the victim, carry his body away, clean up the blood, and unfortunately that's physically impossible.
That would mean the crime must have taken place before Mr. Edgeworth entered the room.
Let's take a look at that chart again. Who is the 777777?
Talking about a lucky number. But wait, that doesn't make any sense. How would Detective Goodman have entered the evidence room?
Since there's no record of his card being used beforehand, he must have entered along with a real murderer. That's the only plausible explanation. He went in with 77777777.
Mr. Edgeworth, please look into this ASAP. Find out the ID number. 77777777.
That's one 7 too many, Your Honor. Unfortunately, I'm unable to look up the owner of that ID card. At least the present.
What? Explain yourself, son.
The ID number 77777 belongs to someone with a high rank of captain or higher, someone who is so-called executive officer. We don't have authority to inquire such a person's identity. Well, that's ridiculous. Just how I'm not finished talking, Mr. Wright. There's one situation in which we can be granted such authority.
The official charge with the file is against the executive is accepted.
An official charge?
You're all alike, aren't you? With your cover-ups and your forgeries.
That's prosecutor's office That's how the prosecutor's office operates. That's how the prosecutor's office operates. That is hard to say in a country accent. Take my pride in my work, Officer Marshall. I would appreciate you keep your slander to yourself.
Slander, is it? Okay, let me ask a question.
Yes.
No, not to you. To her, over the defendant standing over there. Your own little executive. Lana?
Don't be stupid. She's charged with murder. Of course we looked her up. Her ID number, and it's not 777777.
Don't play me for a fool, partner. That's not what I want to ask. All I want to know is one thing about that incident.
Yes, on that incident?
Answer me this, Chief Prosecutor. In that trial 2 years ago, did you really only use legitimate evidence?
Dude, how long is this? Do we need the witness to repeat his question, Chief Prosecutor? I heard him fine, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago. I was in charge of the prosecution for that trial. At the time, occasionally, we felt the powerlessness of the law. At least, I did. Lana! I became prosecutor in order to suppress crime with law. Therefore, before I realized that we were the ones being suppressed by the law.
Defendant, what are you saying? I'll ask you again, Chief Prosecutor. During that trial 2 years ago, did you really present all the evidence to the court? Can you look at me, the investigator? Can you look at me? Can you look me, an investigator in that crime, in the eye and say that you did? Chief Prosecutor, you didn't.
I don't have to, Officer Marshall.
Why won't you answer him?
Jester crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to, in order for him to get the verdict he deserved. But Lana, even if it involved forging evidence. This is bad. Everyone's quiet.
See, that's what I'm talking about. No, no!
Here we go.
Order, 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 order!
Lana's remark caused such a stir of the chaos would have waited until the following day. Alright, I was gonna say, there's gotta be more to this than that. That's an uproar, folks. We'll see more about this in the next episode, I guess. So, appreciate you guys watching. Thank you for hanging out here. I appreciate it. Make sure the like button, subscribe to the channel for more, and of course you can watch it on Twitch if you want to see this series live and other series like it. I would highly recommend coming and checking it out. You can be involved with what's going on in the episode too. You can say hi to YouTube and stuff, so make sure you guys do that. But that is going to be it for me today. Thank you for watching. I hope you have enjoyed, and until next time, my name is Chaos. I'm signing off. Stay safe, and as always,